Jason Baffrey, we are live, sir.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Talk TV, where we believe that coaching and coaches are an essential part of human development. You'll learn how having a guide in your own personal development can change your life, improve your relationships, and enhance your work experience. I'm Jason Baffrey. This is Rhonda Boyle. We're coming to you from our secluded bunkers where we are quarantined from the coronavirus. And you are watching Coach Talk TV, where we are having coaching conversations that matter.
Hey, everybody. We are having conversations that matter, coaching with amazing coaches. And I cannot wait we have somebody from across the pond,
Yes.
Jason. Yes, Danni Grieveson.
We can't go outside of our homes, but we can talk to somebody from the UK.
I know. We kind of have a whole new world. Hey, come on in the room and say, hey. We will not be able to see your who you are unless you give StreamYard permission and Facebook permission. You know, we got all these laws now for your protection because, you know, who knows? We might do something, Jason. Anyway, what a weird world are we living in today, Jason Baffrey? Is it crazy?
It's crazy. I have never, obviously, we have never seen anything quite like this. This is uncharted territory. It's frightening for a number of reasons. And, but I think the key thing to take away is that let's not all panic. You don't need toilet paper that much.
You can improvise if you run out. And if you do, call me and I'll tell you some ideas.
Yeah, you don't need to stockpile. Even if you had the coronavirus, that is not one of the problems necessarily. So leave some toilet paper for the rest of us that really kind of have a breakdown if we can't get toilet paper.
I know, right? Hey, California is in the house. Hey, come on in. We're glad to have you with us today. And so, like I said before, we're going to be talking to Danni Grieveson in a little bit. She is from the UK. Can't wait to talk to her. And you know what, Jason? I got to tell you.
Yes.
I've been thinking.
I'm shocked.
I do have thinker talents,
Right.
And there's so much stuff right now on the internet, it's just crazy. And the world is crazy. The world's gone mad, but the world is shutting down.
Oh yeah.
We are indeed in bunkers. And so it is a scary time right now because we don't know what's going on. And we're all waiting with dread. And then we're told to flatten the curve and all this stuff. But I ran across this poem, if you will, not really a poem, a short essay. And I want to read it because I think it is so amazing. And it will give us a way to think forward through this and distract us for just a minute. So how about if I read that?
Okay, please do.
Okay, let me wet my whistle here. So here we go. This is the essay. And very quickly it says, and the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. That's by Kitty O'Meara. I don't know who she is. This was floating around the internet and I grabbed it because it resonated so strongly. And I really, really want to encourage people to do those very things while we have a time out. It's like the whole world has been given a time out.
Yeah.
This is unprecedented, has never happened before. And we will get through this because, we are Americans first here, those of us who are here, but each of you has your own, you've got your own people around you, your own communities. There are people for you to serve right now, and to start to put images in your mind that are good of what you want. Like, for example, this is one I interviewed Victoria Gallagher yesterday. So if you haven't seen that, she's the author of Practical Law of Attraction. And during that conversation, I said, what if we went to the store and instead of taking screenshots of what's empty, we show the abundance? Like, yes, are we having shortages? Of course we are. But how amazing would it be if we started seeing the abundance? You get what you look at.
Yeah.
So why don't we look at something different? That's all I'm suggesting.
Well, and I think this is a time to, I should probably listen to my own advice here as I say this, disconnect a little bit and spend this time and as the poem said, to read and fill our minds with good information and whether that's historical information or positive information, but whatever you need to refresh and renew yourself. And then also keep in mind, if you are healthy and good and everything, that there are people that are really in need right now. And so this is an opportunity to venture out with proper precautions, obviously, and take care of those that are unable to take care of themselves, the elderly, especially that are at high risk, and maybe unable to get out and get the things that they need to be able to care for themselves.
Right.
So I think we really have some opportunities here to be the humanity that we should be.
Yeah, we're going to see amazing miracles come out of this. Just crazy. We've already seen them. I started collecting them on my Facebook page the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just things, that were where people have been generous. There was a lady who she didn't have to. She chose to cancel her son's bar mitzvah, and she made packages of all the food. She paid the caterer. The packages went home to her elder family and to all of the families that were, and so they celebrated in a different way. And so I do think that we're going to see a lot of things interrupted, and we will get through it. So we have to, though, focus on something different other than this panic and crisis and, those kinds of things. And we will, because that's how we're wired. We are wired to be hopeful. And you know what? Our guest is amazingly hopeful. We're going to introduce her in a minute after we hear from our first sponsor. Jason, take that away.
All righty. I hate it when I can't find it. Have you ever wondered how to ask for that raise or promotion, but you're not sure how? Maybe you're looking for a total career change or how to reinvent yourself after retirement. Great news, everybody. It's 2020. Once we get through all of this, it is going to be your year. It can be your year right now. It's not enough just to live. We deserve to thrive in all areas of our lives. And Coach Talk TV is all about connecting you to a coach that can take you to the next level of your journey. And you can find that coach at soar.com, and have no fears. Many of the coaches, just like Rhonda Boyle and Dani Grieveson, are available for online coaching sessions, so you don't even have to leave your house. But take that opportunity and visit soar.com today.
There you go. I did share with everybody that we really are winging it, in case any of you are wondering.
We always winged it.
We always are. Hey, we're just here having great conversations that matter. And you know what? Coaches are here to help you. So if you're having a challenge, just look for your favorite coach, because they're really standing ready to help move people forward through their challenges right now. So let's introduce the amazing Danni Grieveson. Danni has enjoyed a distinguished career working with prominent brands and global organizations like Rolls-Royce, the BBC, and Coca-Cola. This experience has made her an expert in dynamic leadership and high-performance environments. And her most fulfilling work comes from knowing she's strengthened and enhanced an individual's life, a team, or an organization. Dani Grieveson, come on up.
Hello. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Jason.
Hello there.
Hey, we are so delighted to be able to connect with you around the world. And we know you're probably getting shut down too, like everybody else, right?
It's coming. It's coming. It hasn't happened quite yet, but it's coming. For the over 70s, yes, it has happened, but it will be coming for everybody else as well. So it's certainly a strange time that we find ourselves in here, and for you guys too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. So I have to say I am very hopeful. Personally, I am. And I think that the way I'm wired makes me have the ability to see a better future. So the best thing I can do is just keep spreading that good news to people. They don't want to some of them don't want to hear it right now. They really want to panic and wallow, but they will at one point come out of that, I think. Do you?
Oh, absolutely, Rhonda. I really do agree with you. And that beautiful poem that you read about healing, I think this is a massive opportunity for healing. And as you read that, I was reminded of Ralph Waldo Emerson, the philosopher from your great country. He said, "What lies before us and what lies behind us are tiny matters compared to what lie within us." And I think that healing really can happen in people within. And you spoke about miracles, and I think that this is a time for people to find those miracles, not only within themselves, but also within their homes.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but quite laughably here in the UK, we've had a rush on flour being bought. There's no you can't buy flour for love nor money.
Yeah, and it's toilet paper here.
Yeah, it's toilet paper as well. And hand sanitizer. But I've got a theory that miracles are going to happen in people's homes as well as in themselves. And they're going to find that pasta maker that they bought 5 years ago. And with all that flour, they're going to start making pasta.
And then they'll share it with their neighbors because they realize how much they have. They can't possibly eat all of this.
Totally. But I really do think and hope that this is a time for strength. I know there is acute pandemonium. You only need to look at the news, which is crazy to see that. And just at your local shops, it really is crazy. But I really do hope that people see this as an opportunity for themselves. Truly to develop themselves in who they are. We don't know how long this is going to go on for, but 3 months is banded around here, possibly 12 months. So we don't know, but I really hope people find for this period that it is a period of significant transformation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is really what I think that we are heading towards. Is that it's like an awakening, like people have suddenly gone, what is going on? And that allows them to look around and start to pay attention, because this is what part of the issue is in our world, is that none of us are paying attention. We're on, we're just on survival mode, and we're plugged into technology, and we're just like, we've become like automatons in some sense. And I think that this has woken people. I mean, people are going like, I don't get it. What's going on? And so there's a lot of questions out there, and they're starting to question themselves, their own values, and hopefully what they want.
Definitely. And I think it will be a season of reprioritization as well. I really do. In as you say, you're experiencing loo roll shortages, hand sanitizer shortages. But I think of course it goes beyond that, and it's, what am I actually spending my resources on here? What is going out of my account? What can I actually do without? What have I got in my home that I can use in this period? But for us as coaches, I think it's, what have I got within me opportunity that I can use for benefit to the world, or for benefit to my company, or benefit to my life. I really do see complete merit in that. And I don't say that from a commercial perspective as a coach. I say that because my purpose as a coach is to see deep transformation in people's lives. And I think we are presented here with an opportunity for everyone to transform their lives. I think it's going to be so easy for people to sit back on the sofa and watch Netflix, and you'll see, the decline in people's mental health. But I think those that stay strategic and those that stay focused on lifting their lives, I think there's massive opportunity for growth and massive opportunity for transformation in this season.
Yes, I see that as a possibility too. Wow. Yeah. Danni, you work mostly with teams. Jason, what kind of questions? I mean, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Oh, well, Danni, let's kind of get right into the thick of things. And when you are working with teams or individuals, what do you look for, and how do you discover their strength?
Well, it always starts with the leader of that team. So, of course, however the leader behaves is how the team will behave. The culture that the manager or boss, whatever it's called in that organization, behaves is the culture that team will ultimately adopt.
That's
so
right.
For example, if the boss is highly critical, then the rest of the team will be highly critical, and it's a very destructive environment. And in those teams, you see staff sickness, you see actually staff retention becoming quite an issue. So it always starts with the person leading that team, because they are the strength of that team. So it's about turning their behavior into very positive behavior first and foremost.
So do you feel like teams will, during this crisis, that they'll break down first before they figure out how to come together? Because I think that strengths are going to naturally rise to the top, and they may be actually overused, like
Do I think teams will break down? I do actually. My gut feeling is that they will inevitably. We don't have that human contact. We are by nature, by our nature as human beings, we're pack animals. We behave best when we're together. I really do believe in power and unity. So we do behave best. So I think there will be a breakdown, and you only need to look at the economical statistics to know that companies are already falling and failing in this. So yes, I do unfortunately think there will be a breakdown, but that is where strong leadership comes in,
right,
and picks everything up. That one-on-one contact. I think leaders that are engaging with their teams, just as we're doing now, for example, via video, or leaders that already recognize that this is going to be an issue and have support such as coaching, mentoring along the way, identified to keep their teams focused and on their performance. But also in their home, working from home is common in 2020 anyway, but for those that aren't used to it, there needs to be a tight strategy around how individuals are conducting themselves working from home on a daily basis. I mean, hilariously, you don't need me to take you back to that. I think it was a BBC News interview of the chap years ago. He was talking on South Korea, and his children weighed in from the back. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember that news? And he was working from home, and that is the reality of working from home. There are home interruptions into work life. So it's about, how do you manage that? How do you manage that? So you're focused and
you just keep moving. That exact thing happened to me last week. My 5-year-old grandboy just walked right in the middle of the video right here while I was interviewing somebody.
Magical.
Said, what are you going to do when you get interrupted like that? You're going to keep moving. That's what you're going to do.
Quite, and it's real life, and that's what in this season, where we are going to be working from home, going to be discussing things on video, we need to be focused about how we manage home life and work life to be productive in our work.
Right. Let me
Danny-
real quick check in. Do you mind with our audience? Because Rachel Sanchi has said something super important. She says, we as humans definitely draw the majority of our hope and support from each other. When we are isolated, there is great potential for down spiraling due to our own imaginations running wild. Rachel, you have got it. We have to control our thinking right now. In fact, we get to have new thinking. We don't want this thinking.
Exactly. This isolation is alien to us as human beings. So Rachel, yes. I think you've got it spot on. You're out of the school of the Dalai Lama, I feel, with that kind of quote coming out of you. But that is so pertinent. We are, as I said, pack animals. We are wired to connect. We need each other. We need that eye contact. So my feelings, of course, go out to the elderly and the vulnerable. But let's not forget that there's a lot of single people in this world. So this isolation will be isolating for them. So single people that work from home, that have been super independent. A woman that I know that I used to work with, she's so independent and so used to traveling to Detroit and Germany on a weekly basis, but now she's isolated and her family live in a different country. And that there are going to be a lot of people that are independent people, but being isolated for 3 months is not going to be natural or good for them. So that's where I do hope people will reach out for what we as coaches offer, or just a friendly chat with somebody they know, because we need to connect in this period. So I think Rachel is absolutely spot on in what she said.
Yeah,
Danny,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Danny. For those that are used to working in an office environment, you talked about kind of the leadership role and how they need to be reaching out and connecting with the people that are working for them. But for those that are not used to working from home, maybe they've been working in an office environment for a long time, a creative environment perhaps, and now they are secluded. Do you have any kind of keys that they could be focusing on to kind of stay motivated, stay focused, and keep moving forward?
Yeah, and for me, Jason, that's really simple. It's have a daily plan. Break your day into 2 hours, and I would encourage some exercise. I would encourage some time to make nutritious food in each 2 hour slots. In time for work, of course, right. Work's got to feature in that. But I would break the day down, not necessarily the week, because I'm sure for you in America, but certainly here for England, it would seem that the news is changing every morning and afternoon. And so we've got to be reactive and flexible to that with what the guidelines are from our government. So what I would recommend is be strategic about what you're doing with every 2 hours of each day, and focus on getting through those 2 hours.
I love that advice. Fantastic. Because this is a disruption. And so, people are used to their flow, and bam, their flow's gone. Like you get to figure it out again. And so it rather than fretting about it, which is what your imagination is going to be prone to do, I love what you're suggesting in breaking it into 2 hours. Like, I'm going to do this for 2 hours, and then I'm going to go break, and I'm going to go do that for 2 hours, because for the first few days, you're going to need to develop a new flow. And how do you know what that is unless you get up and break for a couple of hours here, there, and yonder to figure that out for you? Because everybody's going to be different.
Rhonda, absolutely. We are all different creatures, and how we react, how we deal with things is so unique, so unique. And that's the beauty of our jobs as coaches, that we do deal with individuals that are so acutely different to each other. But it's very easy to get into that flow when you're working from home, of getting up, leaving your pajamas on all day, doing the washing, being around the washing, and not really getting anything focused on your job achieved. Right. It very it is very easy to slip into that being at home mode, or I'll just catch up with that on YouTube in front of my TV, and 2 hours have gone past on the sofa and you're still not ready. So I think it's a new flow, but I think be creative about your flow. So yes, it's about being reactive and flexible, but get creative in your time at home.
What great recommendation. So Kelly Parks, who is a leader of teachers and so forth involved in the education system here, she says work in the schools. She says she's going to be spring cleaning with her son. So this is a perfect example, Kelly, of you being proactive. I mean, I think that again, it's cleaning up those spaces. I think we're going to get a lot of spring cleaning done that we would have been doing anyway, haphazardly, and now we get to do it deeply. I love what you say here about being creative with your flow. So the only way you're going to do that is to be intentional and observant, and blocking those 2-hour blocks is a perfect recommendation. I love that.
Definitely. I mean, I've got this weekly planner. I don't know if you can see it, and it says my awesome week on the top of it. And every day I plan exactly what I'm doing when. So I don't know if Amazon is still delivering, or you can get things that are week planners with day blocks. But every week I plan what I'm doing every day, and it is really, really helpful. And it might just be that you just do it in your notepad. You might just create that in your notepad. But I just think, in a day of, we spend so much time on our screens and on our laptops. Let's use these magic things. Let's get back.
Who remembers how to use a pen?
Let's get back to basics in time, and let's write down, because by writing it down, you take ownership.
Mm-hmm. There's something to do with your motor memory, and all that cellular memory. So what great suggestions.
Yeah. So claim it. As coaches, we claim what we're up to. So we encourage our clients to claim what we're up to. So take ownership with this very simple device.
Right. So what's one strategy that you would give the leaders that you work with? I know you work with leaders and their teams. What is one thing that you want to make sure that they do during this downtime with their people?
I think it certainly creates an accountability plan. So make sure that you are checking in with your team and making them accountable for the tasks that you give them. So whether that's twice a week, whether that's daily, whether that's fortnightly, each leader will know the timeframes that they want to permeate that at. But I definitely think creates an accountability mechanism for your team at this time. As a leader, you need to check in with your team. You need to make sure that they're on board with you as an organization, but also you need to make sure that they're on board with themselves. And behind that, any support mechanisms that you can put in place, such as coaching, mentoring throughout this time, I think is the right thing to do.
I want to just add that I wholeheartedly agree with this, because here's why. The leader's life is upturned too, right? They're upside down and having to learn a new flow as well. And all of a sudden, they're having to deal with people issues. That is not their strength usually. They're planners and strategic thinkers, right? They're futuristic in leading the company and assigning the tasks. And all of a sudden they're dealing with, oh my gosh, stuff they don't know they don't typically deal with around peopling, and so they're going to be worn out by it.
Definitely, and that's where the leader needs a robust plan around themselves or coping mechanisms. One of the gentlemen that I coach has taken social media, and he's doing a social diary of everything that he's experiencing in this time, which is his outlet for it, and he's finding massive encouragement online for himself. But I think as leaders, as head honchos, they also need to be robust in this, so that they can be robust for their team.
I made a comment here. Stay in your lane. Keep doing what you do best, and keep assigning things out and bring on that mentorship and coaching. I'm going to say that mentorship and coaching during this isolation period is probably one of the most significant ways a leader can impact their team.
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, Rhonda. And I've worked in teams where there has, we've not been in this isolation period, and the leader is absent anyway. There's no feedback, for example. There's no performance review. There's no, that's really okay. That's really great what you're doing there, or that's not okay what you're doing there. I've worked in teams that the leader is very much absent. So I think this is a real opportunity for the leader to govern what he wants the team to do, and then to be coaching in and around that in this period to keep everybody on track, because it is easy in this season for people to get lost.
Yes.
So
go ahead.
Well, just the point I was making is, even in a season where we weren't in isolation, I've been in a team where the leader felt very much absent anyway, but even more so now we're in a virtual world and segregated. I really, really, really would be upset if that happened in teams that I work with.
Wow. Jason?
Yeah. When you work with the teams, and let's just kind of go back to normalcy for just a little bit, but I mean, in your regular coaching sessions, when you're working with these teams, what do you look at as being a good outcome? And then how can you relate that into what's going on today?
Well, great question, Jason. Nothing like putting me on the spot in this unknown season of what is happening for any of us. But no, great question. What do I look for? Well, quite simply, the best outcome is increased profitability, but behind that is increased productivity of the team working better together. There being a better culture, there being better team dynamics, and quite simply, there being better language in which the team are communicating with each other. Because quite often I go into teams and the language is appalling. How people speak to each other and how people speak about each other is shocking. Quite honestly, and I'm sure you both have experienced that. So if I can see that the language is blending better and it's much more positive, it's much more strength based, and it's much more constructive, it really does build when we speak simply kinder about one another. So for me, that shows transformation. But of course, then productivity and bottom line profitability is what every business wants.
Right. Hey, I want to check in with our audience real quick. Rachel Sanchi she says that she's been sick and at home for a week already, but she's drawing from her homeschool experiences of creating structure in her day, praying and reading, and making sure she's reading something and learning something new every day and calling someone every day. Rachel, that's amazing. She's like created her own little structure around that. And then she says, this is a time for all of us to relearn what leisure means and self-care.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. As I said at the beginning about that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, what lies within us. And it sounds like Rachel is really nourishing what is within her by reading, by cooking, by connecting with a friend at least once a day. That is self-care and really nourishing what is within her. And I think, as the poem that you read at the beginning talked about reading books, Rhonda,
Yes.
This is a really great opportunity for us to read those books that have been on our shelf for years, or buy new ones and really nourish our minds with topics that matter to us. So it's great to hear what Rachel's doing. Awesome.
Yeah, let me see. She has a question for us. Let me see if I can get it up here. She says, can you speak to the need for us to accept our personality types and strengths during this time? I think there are many people who are struggling against their gut feelings and reactions during this quarantine time. Hello, this is an empathy feeler type here.
Yeah.
Rachel has some of these she's putting into words what people are feeling, and that they still don't feel the freedom to be in their strengths or be themselves.
Do you want me to answer that one?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I think the business guru, Pete Drucker, he said something along the lines of, you can only build from a place of strength. There's a quote of his that pertains to that. I'll have to send it over to you. But you can only build from strength. So really knowing what your strengths are. So for that question, I would encourage, what was the name of the lady that wrote the question?
Rachel,
I would really, really encourage you to look at your strengths, to list them, to write them down, and write what actions you can take during this time as a result of those strengths. So depending on what your strengths are, what actions can you build on your strengths? So you may dedicate 2 hours a day to it. What actions am I going to take today that are strengths-based actions? So I hope that helps.
Yeah, she's doing that. She herself is doing that. She just wonders what in the world to do with other people. You know,
I mean, I think this would be a great time for people that don't know their strengths to seek those out. And for those of us that are aware and know people that don't have their strengths, who may be struggling, this is a great time to get them to take an assessment and learn their strengths, and then be able to hopefully coach them through some of what they're feeling. And maybe they can understand themselves a little better during this time and understand why they have the feelings that they're having.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because it's all related. You know, we get these feelings of anxiety and stress when we are not living in our own lane, in our talents and in our strengths, and if we're not contributing in ways that we are called to do. You know, like that's our way, and if we don't find that way, then we feel that's when the anxiety builds up. You know.
Fully, and exactly what you've just said, Jason. It's, you know, it's a good opportunity for people to find. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that quote. It's a great opportunity for people to find out about their strengths. So, for example, yesterday I was coaching a gentleman who's really high in strategic and achiever strengths. So we were coaching around this period. What strategy is he going to put in place, and what is he going to achieve between now and our next coaching session? So really dialing into somebody's strengths, you can build on. So I think, as you said, Jason, this can be a really powerful time for someone knowing their strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you're using them anyway. It's just now you get to do them intentionally, you know, and you get to look at some of the other things that maybe need to be done and find a creative way to do them because you really don't want to do them.
Yeah. Well, and for somebody, you know, like myself who has deliberative number one, and we naturally assess risk when we're looking at a world that is filled with risk all over the place, it now brings things into a much clearer picture. And you know, it's good to know that I can kind of control why I'm looking at things the way that I'm looking at them. But you know, it also gives an opportunity for us to kind of utilize some of those other strengths. My input and has been working in overdrive lately. So, you know, it's fun to kind of know how all of those things work together.
It really is. Kelly Park says, I appreciate the time to reset. That's really what it is. It's like this worldwide reset. She says, I have strategic and futuristic. She's a thinker that thinks in the future and pretty high level. And she says she's designing future trainings for the next school year and more use of online training. That's where she's gifted. She's gifted. Kelly, you know that I know you are gifted as a content creator. So guess what she's doing? She's creating these future trainings because that's what she does. So that is strength in action that will be put into already. It'll be ready. So this is why it's important that you tap into the strengths that you have so that you can go use them in productive ways for the future. I want to interrupt real quick because Jason, you said something the last time, and I want to move to our next sponsor break, but you said something about assessments, and I do want to talk about that a little bit because you have one for parents who may be ready to kill their kids. So we want to make sure that if you're on this call and you know parents, that you know that there are solutions for you too hanging out at home. So let's move to that sponsor.
Absolutely. You know, as Rhonda mentioned, you may be frustrated right now. A lot of us have our kids out of school for much longer than we had anticipated, and there may be some frustration coming from that. You know that parenting is hard and kids do things that we don't understand, that we sometimes see as problematic, but it is our own inability to understand how they're functioning that is the real issue. We have some hope for you. There is the brand new Incredible Kids Assessment, and it's available for parents to find the joy in parenting and help you through these trying times. You can learn the secret to unlocking your child's potential, gain a better understanding of who your child is, and how to parent to their unique gifts. And if you're ready to understand yourself, your children, and how to guide them to success, please visit facebook.com/Baffrey Coaching. Connect with us, and we can send you an assessment that you can take so you can better understand not only your own parenting talents, but your children's talents as well, and how to better parent them.
There you go. You guys need to, if you know a parent that it may be struggling because now homeschooling their kids,
Right.
and they're doing that, you guys need to reach out to Jason and his lovely wife, Katie, because they are coaches over at Baffrey Coaching, and they work especially with families and their kids. Kelly Parks works with kids too. She says, Jason, now is a good time for parents to work on parenting incredible kids and parents.
That's exactly right.
Perfect timing. So, right? This is what we're here to do, is give you guys hope and show opportunities that you have to develop and grow in whatever ways that we can do. I think that's what we're all trying to do, Danni, right? Coaches are here to help everybody. Go ahead, fill us in.
Totally. And I'm sure you've heard of Brené Brown, who I absolutely adore. I don't think I'm the only person in the world. And one of her mantras, if you like, that goes in on my phone as a reminder every day is, and I encourage you when you're writing your day for your strategy, and we spoke about this session together being about strength and courage. One of her guiding mantras is, today, I choose courage over comfort. Today, I choose courage over comfort. And I think in this season where we're all at home, it's quite easy to just not do much. But what would be a courageous move for you today? So choosing that, is it a challenging phone call? Is it writing a strategy for your day? Is that courageous for you? Is it tackling that cupboard that we've all got in the house that has just got loads of things in it that have gathered over years that need sorting out? Is that the courageous thing that you'll do? Or is it engaging with a coach to really, really, really harness the miracles that are in you? What is the courageous move that you will make today? I love that from Brené Brown.
I love that. I choose courage over comfort. If you're not familiar with the work of Brené Brown, you need to go plug in.
Absolutely.
And yes, I'm a super big fan. Use a lot of her strategies and thinking in my own coaching. So yes, maybe it is choosing a coach today so that you can face the challenge you're facing, whatever that is. And guess what? We're all in this together. We are all in this together. And so the truth is that anything you've got going on in your life is no different or no more or less than any of the challenges that we are all facing. And so that's what coaches are here for. So what a great conversation, Danni.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Jason. Yes. I've absolutely loved connecting with you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You bet. Now, we do want to tell people how to find you. So be sure and pop that information in the chat box for us and for our audience. And we want you to connect to Danni. And you do online coaching. You work with teams and organizations and
individuals. A lot of my clients are individuals, actually. And tomorrow I'm coaching a lovely woman in Australia. So I'm up early to coach Australia because they're on crazy time, and that's certainly going to be over video. So here we go, guys. And as you say, I'd love to echo that. We are in this together. We are in this together.
We are. Well, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out today for a great coaching conversation that matters. And we will see you in the green room after.
Great. Thank you, Danni.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. I feel hopeful. Jason, what about you?
I feel like I need to have a written down plan for my day.
I know, right? We need to do something. We all have our little things that we get to do. And we get to choose that courageous thing to do. And so, hey, we want to make sure you know how to connect with us. We are on YouTube and we are inside of Coach Talk TV.
Yeah, find our Coach Talk TV Facebook page. That's the main place to find us. And then we also have a YouTube channel. If you are looking, maybe you're doing some cleaning, some spring cleaning, and you want to listen to a great podcast, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast outlets, including iTunes and Spotify, etc. And so look us up there. You can listen to the audio of each one of our shows. And if you've missed our earlier shows, then you can go back and catch up with those. And Rhonda, we have a big announcement because we've got another big jam-packed couple of weeks Discover Coaching series coming up very soon.
We sure do. And we need to have people reach out to you at Baffrey Coaching on Facebook. And just a little thing I've got going on. If you are a coach, because I coach coaches, I have a challenge for you that will help you see your coaching practice. You get to create what you want. So let's do that. That starts on March 30th coming up. And you can grab your workshops and see more details at rhondaboyle.com/challenge. And with that, Jason Baffrey, what a great time to be alive.
Yes, indeed. Everybody stay safe. Stay healthy, wash your hands, and we'll see.
Do all the things.
We'll see you on the flip side of that.
Okay. See you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.